My name is Brett Burney. I am the principal of Burney Consultants. I primarily do eDiscovery consulting from an independent standpoint, mostly working with law firms as well as corporate legal departments, just helping them either on a litigation matter that they're already running into and helping them understand some of the tools and processes they can put in place, or many times working with corporations and just helping them be a little more proactive and better prepare on their data management side, information governance. It's always fun to come to legal tech to get an idea of sort of what players are out there, or what new products are on the market, and what people are kind of doing with some of the older products that are available today. Of course, cloud platforms today are still so prevalent with eDiscovery from the document review side. I am excited to see that some people are even pushing a little bit more into the processing side, or frankly, a lot of clients are talking to me about the fact that document review is great, but sometimes they need some other tools to maybe handle some of the transcripts that they have, or the pleadings and the correspondence that they're having to deal with. So I'm seeing some tools from, I guess, more of a case analysis perspective, sort of a management aspect on that, which is really great. The other thing quickly I would just say from the industry that I see a lot of clients that are asking me about. I love talking about predictive coding and technology assisted review and all the analytics aspects, but a lot of clients still today are even struggling with things like text messages from mobile devices or collecting social media information. It seems a little basic, I think, maybe to the point where some vendors maybe kind of overlook some of that, but almost any matter, no matter how small, no matter how big, whether it's criminal, civil, domestic issues, any kind of information is usually now today from a communication standpoint, it's mobile devices. Email still reigns supreme. It's one of the primary sources of potentially relevant information, but text messaging today, just being able to communicate through different platforms, Slack of course, and it's really something that people are struggling with on how to collect it and how to properly preserve it and then obviously review it. So I'm excited to see there's a few tools out there that are coming on board and doing this a little bit more, but I think those are the areas where those are some pain points for a lot of the customers and clients that I work with these days. Web content, collecting web content today, whether it's web pages or Facebook profiles, something along those lines. A couple of companies that I've seen that are doing that very well and properly preserving that is one's called Page Vault. They're based out of Chicago. I don't know if they're here, but I've been talking with them. But one company yesterday that I did talk with was Hanzo, H-A-N-Z-O. They're doing some really good stuff about making sure they properly collect information. You know, a lot of people today, if they come to a web page or a Facebook profile to, quote, preserve it, they'll just simply print to PDF or so. It never looks like what it's like on the screen, and then the firm is then in the chain of custody. So I think it's incredibly important to maybe use some of these services and platforms to, first of all, have a third party do it. They can supply an affidavit if they need to, but then you're taking that firm out of the chain of custody. The other thing, quickly shifting gears just a little bit, I was anxious to see some of the improvements Microsoft is making to the Office 365 platform. They obviously acquired Equivio several years ago, and we've all been kind of watching what's Microsoft going to do in the Office 365 Security and Compliance Center to do more eDiscovery. Almost every corporate client that I work with today either has Office 365 or they're getting Office 365. That's where everybody is going. And the fact that they're baking in some of the eDiscovery tools and services into that is amazing because it's there and available. But in my mind, I'm also wondering if they already have tools, are they going to be using some outside tools on there? So I think it's important to see how some of these review platforms are going to differentiate themselves and maybe connect a little bit better into Office 365. It's either Office 365 or G Suite on the back end, and just about every, law firms typically aren't going there quite yet, although they will be, I'm sure. But any kind of an outside corporate company today, they're using one of those tools. And so having access into that information so that they can use it from a collection standpoint and a processing standpoint, and even Microsoft was showing some review tools that they're baking into those systems now. My law firm clients, I'm still getting people that are struggling using old, outdated, legacy platforms, whether for document review or transcript management or something along those lines. And you know, these are the old server client-based tools, and they're looking to the cloud. They're looking to some of the more modern tools now, so that they can streamline the work that they do. It's more user. A lot of attorneys just say, "I want something that's more user-friendly for what I want to be able to do," and to a certain extent, some of that is getting commoditized in the sense we don't need a separate tool for processing and another tool for review. Everything is kind of baked into a platform, and the cloud obviously makes that a lot more possible than it ever has today. So just kind of helping a lot of these firms better understand some of the tools that are out there. From the corporate side, it really is just being more proactive in managing that data so that they have the capability of quickly grabbing the information they need, understanding where that information is located, whether it's in SharePoint repositories or shared network drives. And then to some extent, a lot more corporate in-house counsel today are doing some even first pass culling or reviews, getting it filtered down to a smaller subset that they can send to their outside counsel a lot of times. Talking to so many law firms that, I guess I would say more mid-sized and smaller law firms, right? I always talk to mid-sized firms and tell them just because you're a smaller firm doesn't mean you don't necessarily have smaller litigation cases. In some cases you have huge cases. So just because you're not a large law firm doesn't mean that you don't have a need for some of the eDiscovery tools. So because of that and the fact that I do a lot of reviews on different tools and aware of the industry, I created the eDiscovery Buyer's Guide, which is really focused for mid-size and smaller law firms. And really what it is we did about 33 reviews of different platforms and different tools out there just to help give these firms a sense of where do they go? What are their options out there? I mean, I live and breathe this stuff all the time, of course, but a lot of the law firms the attorneys are actually practicing law, so they don't have time to do that. So we've been told that this has been extremely helpful for them to be able to go to a resource. It's a free download at eDiscoveryBuyersGuide.com. We've gone in and even had some contributions from folks like Craig Ball and Tom O'Connor, and a lot of those in there, so that it's not just a buyer's guide in the sense of here are the different platforms, but it's more of a resource that you can do. And we do a lot of webinars and some educational components around the eDiscovery Buyer's Guide as well. So we have a lot of people just telling us that it's extremely helpful in helping them to save time finding what other products out there. They can go here and at least find a free download that gets them started in the right direction. And that's all of that is at eDiscoveryBuyersGuide.com.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're wondering where I am right now, I'm in Rome, and this is the old ancient Senate of Rome. And down here are the ruins of the rooms where Julius Caesar was stabbed. Just a little historical note for you. And if you want to subscribe to all my other videos, just click right over here.